Oh hey, it's Wes, and today's an exciting day. Today I received an AD100 Pro. Is it Pro? Is it even anything that we need? Well, maybe we'll find that out in the next video. But for this video, if you follow this channel, you know that the first thing we've got to do is an overheating torture test. So let's pop a fresh battery in here, start it up. Got to unlock it to start it, which I'm not a huge fan of, honestly. There it is. So what we have here, we're going to use an interval timer. The first part of our test, we're at 1/2 power every 4 seconds. Then the second half of our test, we're going to do this again, but in high-speed sync, 1/4000th of a second at 1/2 power. We'll see how long each of those held out for. We've got everything ready here. Let's get this started. And go. First of all, my first observation is that this is louder than I expected it to be. It makes a very loud popping sound when this goes off for such a tiny flash. This flash is capable of zooming, and so I have zoomed this to 85 millimeters. Why is that? 85 is the furthest the emitter can be from the front of the flash, so although if this overheats and melts, that's fine and good. That makes my review easier to make, honestly. But I want to reduce the chance of this melting down while we're doing this, so I pulled it to 85 to give it a little more space. Oh, the fan just kicked on. Can you hear it here? All right, we are about 1 minute in. Place your bets on how long this flash is going to last. I think it's going to hold out for about 7 minutes, but that's just me. Let's find out how far we end up here. Oh, hey, Maggie. So, in the box, let's just do our unboxing here briefly. We have our little articulating arm, which is something that we're used to seeing from Godox. We have a USB charger, we have a USB-C power cord, and we also have a teeny tiny little USB-C charger right here. It's the exact same one that came with the Godox V1. Incidentally, it's the exact same battery, in theory, as from the V1. We'll look at that closer during the full review, but it's shaped just a little bit differently, but it has ostensibly all the same specs and numbers. So how does it accomplish more with the same power supply? Honestly, I'm not surprised, because that battery was supposed to be a better battery than the one in the V860 Mark II. Before any questions come up about this, I'm going to show you this flash one more time on the screen here. You do see the HSS symbol on the screen, but this is not presently operating in HSS. It's very easy to tell whether or not your flash is in HSS, especially around 1/2 power. You hear a noticeable pop coming out of this. It doesn't make that sound when you're in high-speed sync, because in high-speed sync, it elongates the flash, it pulses it, and so that pop sound doesn't come out because it doesn't come out all at once. So it's HSS ready, but it's not actually doing HSS, so this is the easy test for it still. Well, I have one of those. I have 3 of those. I have that and that. I have that. I have one of those, have one of those. I don't have an AD1200. Don't have a QT16600. That'd be fun. Do have an FV. Do have an SL. And then I probably do have a problem. So we are 6.5 minutes in now, and we can very clearly smell some overheating or burning plastic. Fan is still going. Now this is normal to get that burnt plastic smell because this is a new piece of electronics and I'm heating it up a lot. We've just crossed the 7-minute mark. Let's see if my gamble has paid off. Look at the screen, look at the screen. We have, oh, and that is it. We have overheated. We are at 7 minutes, and I believe it was 14 seconds. Let's do some math on this. So that was 194 shots. Over 7 minutes, 4-second intervals, 1/2 power. Honestly, that's pretty impressive. But I won't be truly impressed until it performs in the HSS test. So we're gonna fast forward our lives here and wait for this overheating warning to go away. Gonna get a fresh battery, gonna get a fresh pot of coffee. No, we're not, it's really late at night, so probably won't be doing that. Whew! All right, we have had a 15-minute break. Everything's cooled down here. Let's get our next setup going. So for our next setup, we're gonna be taking an A6000, putting our Godox trigger in the hot shoe, right here. Boop, boop. Have a manual focus lens on it because we don't want focusing to have any sort of an impact on this, so no focus delays. Once again, we're doing an interval at 4 seconds. We have 1/4000th of a second shutter speed to trigger our high-speed sync. We have 1/2 power. All right, place your bets, how long you think this is going to take. Bets in? I'm gonna bet 2 minutes tops. HSS is always a real mean thing. So let's go. Kaboom. And already initially, I can see that there's a lot less light coming out of this flash right now. That's because in HSS, it struggles to produce the same amount of light in an individual pop. You'll also notice that it doesn't make as much noise. Again, that's because the pop is drawn out over a longer period of time. As I said earlier, not a distinct pop. Again, we're at 85mm zoom. Our fan just kicked on. We're still popping. We don't have the overheat warning on there yet. And as you can see, the light comes back on very quickly. So we can see that the power system itself is having no issue recharging a 1/2 power HSS blast in less than 4 seconds. So let's fast forward this. There is a decent chance that my battery, my A6000, is going to die before my flash dies. Wouldn't that be inconvenient? The race is on now. Now, since I got this from PerGear, this included a somewhat handy little arm here. This camera doesn't want to focus, but that's fine. Very metal, very grippy. Also included this set of flash gels and a gel ring. And although it's nice to have a set of gels, it kind of speaks to a bit of a failure on Godox's part to fill out this system. When I first reviewed the round head for the AD200, I was very excited for the ecosystem that would build up around it, and it just hasn't happened. They released that one kit, and I think there's a snoot now too, and that's about it. So that's really disappointing to me, honestly. What I was hoping for was a bunch of gels, just little discs, and more of those magnetic rings so I could just keep those in my pocket, boom, put them on the flash. And you don't have to fuss around with these squishy little things that are easy to break, easy to melt. So, although I like having all those options in a tiny little package, what I really want is more of those first party from Godox solid gels. Please, Godox, if you're watching this video, make those. You can make them cheap and they'd be so convenient to have. Just a whole little handful of those and throw them on as needed. And oh my goodness, we are at 5 minutes now. I have no idea how this is still working. Historically, Godox flashes do not last very long when they're approaching 1/2 power in high-speed sync. And again, I would question that this is in high-speed sync because of the fact that it's still working, but it's not making a pop and it's making less light. So it's clearly in high-speed sync. But we are also clearly nearing overheat. We have the warning. Does not smell great. The warning light is flashing. Oh, yep, we just lost it. We are at 5 minutes and 44 seconds. I don't know why I keep doing this. This is one of the slowest focusing lenses Sony makes. It's the 90mm macro. So 5 minutes and 44 seconds. That was 86 flashes, 1/4000th of a second high-speed sync at 1/2 power. And honestly, that is the most impressive thing that I have seen come out of high-speed sync from a Godox product. So initial impressions, I would say that this has a lot more power inside it than I expected it to have. I feel like this has more potential. When the initial press release came out about this, the initial leaks, it was saying 100 to 150, I think, watt seconds, which doesn't make any sense. So they obviously settled on 100, but this thing appears to have a lot of breathing room, so that's interesting to note. Anyway, stick around, subscribe to this channel, because up next, we're going to be doing the in-depth, hands-on, real-world, merciless test of this. And if this didn't break it, my test might, because I don't go easy on these things. I want to know how these are going to work and whether or not they're going to let me down in the real world. It's going to get cold, it's going to get hot, it's going to get interesting, going to be some great photos. So stick around, and until next time, go take some photos.